Hello and welcome to the Conspire Away Bitches podcast. I'm your host, and I'm joined today by actually my first guest on the podcast this season because I usually get nervous. So I was like, okay, who can I have on that's going to break the ice, going to be great, like the best podcast guest I could ask for. So I asked Brittany to come on.
Okay, you're neglecting to tell the full story. I invited myself on the podcast. This was like a month ago. I said to you on text, like, you've never invited me on your podcast. Are you going to?
Brittany, I get nervous. Like I get legit like nervous having guests on. So that's why I hadn't invited you.
I invited myself, and that is the truth of the matter. That is how this actually came to be. So you can tell like a nice story, that's fine, but that's not the truth.
Well, but it kind of is, okay, it is the truth because that also did kind of inspire me to have guests on the podcast because I was like, people actually want to come on because sometimes, I mean, I don't want to.
What do you get nervous about? Like, what makes you nervous?
Because I guess someone's going to say they don't want to come on.
Oh, okay.
And then earlier you were like, is it video too? And I was like, yes, don't hate me, please. I'm sorry.
No, I don't hate you at all. I just have to know if I need to, like,
I know.
Judge the face.
But I don't know why. Yeah, I guess I just get nervous because I'm thinking like, A, they're not going to want to come on. I guess that's like imposter syndrome on my end. But also, I don't know.
I get that.
Really
I
nervous.
did like this. I had like this little short-term thing on this app like a few years ago. And I had to have guests like every week, and I hated it so much. You feel like you're like asking a favor. So I really do totally understand. Like, you're worried, like, do they even want to do it? Like, I get it, but no, I totally wanted to do it and like solicited it from you actually. So
wow, why'd you pick me?
Because you're my favorite.
Am I really?
Yeah, like you're so funny. I love everything that you post. Everything that you post is hilarious to me, and I'm a big fan. So that's why.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm a huge fan of you as well. Actually, I know you hear this all the time, but I tweeted earlier that I was going to have my first guest of the season on my podcast. And I said it was the person with the funniest person who's ever been in the diary room. And everybody guessed you. Everybody was like, it's Brittany. One person said Zach, and I was like,
okay, that's fine though. Zach was pretty good in the diary room, and that's completely permissible.
But it was like overwhelming response. Everyone knew it was going to be you.
Well, yay! Thank you. I'm flattered.
So you haven't yet joined in as the 18th house guest on this season. What's been the whole?
I'm still waiting. I think it's like a big twist that's coming like in a few weeks. Like there's going to be another big twist. I just like in my contract, I was like, I want to be in the final 25% of the game. So we're just waiting on the time.
They didn't make you go into sequester this whole time. So that's nice.
No, I also wrote that in my contract. I was like, I want to just watch the show at home and just like see how things are going, catch up on Twitter, and then go. So any minute, it'll happen.
So you have been keeping up with the season, right?
I have been keeping up with the season. Yes, it was. My kids watch it now, so that actually makes it easier because in seasons past, I've like really fallen off because it's on several times a week, and like my kids dominate my television, and they are like in charge of the remote control. And so being able to watch it with them is actually makes it a lot easier on my part to be able to stay current with it. Although there have been like a couple of suspect themes that like probably maybe weren't great for my there's
what?
Like the prophylactics. There was a whole scene on prophylactics.
Wait, what's prophylactic?
I'm trying not to use the real word, Kat.
Oh shit. I'm the worst. This is why I could never be a mom. I mean, I hope I'm a mom someday, but man, I would be the worst because I would be literally talking about it right in front of them, saying bitch and stuff.
Oh my gosh. I was just like, we're just going to fast forward this segment. And then because, my older kids who are watching it are 3rd and 5th grade. And so then there was like this whole thing with like people under the covers and like, why are they under the covers? And they're snuggled. And I'm just like,
prophylactics.
Trying to like fast forward and keep it like super PG. But for the most part, we're talking network, primetime, family-friendly television. So for the most part, it's fine.
That was a pretty edgy.
Been helpful.
Now that I think about it, that was a really edgy segment that they did with with the prophylactics.
I know. I was like, there was like no warning it was coming. My child is putting a frozen waffle in my face. Okay, I can't talk about this right now. Okay, I'll talk about your waffles later.
Yeah. Talk about it. We can talk about whatever.
They're too frozen. If you just set that out for a minute, it'll thaw a little. Okay, sorry about that. Just a temporary interruption.
It's okay. Wait, so I feel like you're still pretty involved, like as alumni. You know, you were in the video, the introductory metaverse video.
That's so funny.
Wait, so tell me about that whole thing. So I assume they reached out and they were like, "Hey, we have this idea."
Yes, but like they reached out in the way that like they always reach out, which is very like super hush hush. Like you don't know what you're gonna do. You might show up and be doing, you know, hosting a competition. You might show up and just be part of some interview, you know, like you never know what it is. And they don't tell you like, oh, what we're going to have you do is do this. Like you don't know until it's,
and you don't want to ask, and you don't want to ask because you don't want them to like change their mind.
Yeah, you can't ask questions. And then of course it's like, you can't tell anybody. So then like, I was literally like gauging, cause I assumed other people are going to be there, but I don't want to get in trouble for asking. So I'm trying to like deduce based on social media. And like of all days, Dan Giesling had tweeted that day, Big Brother 25 ? And I was like, oh my God, Dan's going to be there. Like for sure, Dan's going to be there because like, what are the odds that I'm like on my way to the airport and he tweeted this? Like he's for sure on his way to the airport too. So I knew there would be other people there, but I was just like trying to figure out who it was without asking because I was trying to follow the rules and like not tell or whatever. And so I really didn't know who it was going to be. And so I didn't know that Danielle was going to be there until we were on our way to the lot. And then that was the first time that I'd ever met her. So I was super excited because I had obviously watched her seasons and loved her. And she's an OG and legendary and all of the above. And then Frankie, it was the second time that I've met him. I met him on The Price is Right as well. But so getting to be with them was like amazing. And then we found out like that morning, like you're going to be doing some questionable acting. And it was definitely like freeform, ad-libby, like it wasn't like a script per se, but it was supposed to be like campy and cheesy and all the things.
Your acting was so good, by the way.
Thanks. I'm a thespian.
Were you in the high school theater program?
Yes, I was like kids theater girl, and I did an acting class in college. Thank you.
Oh wow!
And
you could tell it was really good.
I was dying laughing because I knew, like I told my husband when I got home, I was like, you're going to be laughing so hard with just like embarrassment for me. Like you're going to be cringing. You're going to be so embarrassed. It's going to be so bad, you know? And then Heisem's face when the segment was playing, just like utter confusion and like, what am I looking at was like so perfect. I was just like, yes, like this is exactly the reaction that I expected.
Oh my gosh.
It's like, what is happening right now? What am I looking at? What am I watching? But yeah, so yeah, that was like the perfect reaction. And I'm nothing if not self-aware. So I definitely, I was right there with him.
I think it would have been like, it was a very campy little video.
Yes.
Which, I mean, it was very Big Brother.
With intention. Yeah, like very Big Brother.
Yeah, but I feel like the acting really sold it. I mean, if y'all were bad actors, it would have been really bad. You know, like it would have been, but y'all really sold it. I thought it was cute. I don't know. I was excited about it.
It was so fun. And they totally like put the lid on us. Like we weren't allowed obviously to like post anything until afterwards and all that. And they did let us walk through the house, which was amazing. Gosh. We couldn't like take our phones or anything like that because obviously like danger of leaking or whatever.
Yeah.
But so we got to walk through the house before the show started and it was like so cool and so incredible. Changes have been made to that house since I was last there.
I was about to say, have you been back in the house since your season?
I haven't, since season 14. And like, there was a lot that was different. So I was of the spiral staircase era.
Yeah. So was I.
And it's okay.
That's a recent change.
it's recent. They said that I think it was a Celebrity Big Brother season change. And so
Oh,
now it's
I
like
think you're right.
a big like wooden staircase that kind of like goes up the wall.
Yeah. I don't know if I like
Also,
it. I kind of like the
they
spiral staircase.
spiral staircase was iconic.
I
And they
know.
have a bidet now. A bidet.
Well, that was because of Kaser.
So
He
I was
put that
like,
in his
oh,
contract for the All-Star
okay.
season, which is like
For the
that's
All-Star
like some
season.
king stuff. Like I'm not going on unless you give me a
Right?
bidet.
Right? I was like, oh my, we did not have this back in my day. And then like that whole upstairs room was kind of like a flex space that they used for random things. In season 12, it was Pandora's box. In season 14, it was the coach's bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like a couple different things, but it was never like a permanent fixed part of the house.
Mm-hmm.
And
you're talking about
have,
what is now the have not room, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
yes.
what I was figured was that.
That was not like a permanent part of the house. And then we didn't have 2 diary rooms. Like, what is this 2 diary rooms? I still don't even understand that. Did you have 2 diary rooms?
We had 2, but I don't know if this is like I don't know if this is classified information, but the upstairs diary room, at least for us, is like you're either going up there to take your medication or you're in trouble. Like there's been like someone's about to be in there to scold you.
Okay, so it's not like set up the same as the regular.
They told us that so it has like a green screen on the back because they said that it has the potential to be used for a diary room. But I mean, is there ever that much of like demand for the diary room?
Right,
they would be like having people back to back. I don't know.
Right. Okay, that makes sense because I was like, we never had an upstairs diary room. So anyway, there were definitely some like key differences from back.
And then the backyard too. The backyard, they now have that little
totally different
thing.
Yeah, it's totally different. And we always had like everything about the backyard is different than both of my seasons that had like a little wooden deck and you know, like the pool is different, like all that's different. So
gosh, do you miss
crazy.
It? Do you ever watch the show and then because sometimes I'll have like a realization moment. This year it was when Red was sitting in the kitchen. Or you're sitting in the kitchen making something, and all of a sudden I had this like really like crazy feeling, like wow, like I've actually stood in that same spot before. Like I don't know, it didn't freak me out, but it was like a very weird, like nostalgic feeling. I don't know. Do you ever think that?
Like yeah, super. Like it's crazy nostalgia. I always like try to kind of liken it to an experience where someone like going back to your old college campus or going back to like a high school football game or whatever. It's like that because it's like so ingrained in your mind. You spent so much time there. It's such like a weird, atypical, such a unique experience that so few people have been through that it's like, I don't know, it's really overwhelming and powerful whenever you're there to just be like, oh my God, especially as the years go on. Cause I'm, you know, it was 10 years ago, 11 years ago that I even did my most recent season. Yeah. Season 14. So anyway, yes, like total nostalgia on everything. And I was so impressed by like the detail of the house. Like I was like, oh my God, I feel like so much of the detail that goes into the house is completely glossed over and not even recognized or noticed by the viewer of the show. I'm talking about just like the stuff on the walls, like the decor, the silverware, the way they had the silverware stacked up by the plates. Cause it was like half a, what are they calling the verse that's like cartoony?
What's the comic verse. Oh yeah.
The comic verse. So the dining table was like half the comic verse and then it was half just like regular theme of the house.
Okay, so I have a theory about that.
Everything was different. Okay.
I have a theory about that. Okay, so and actually I can't take credit for this. I just recently got my boyfriend like really involved in Big Brother, and he like I overheard him the other day listening to Taryn's morning recap. Like he's like really in it. But he had a theory that makes sense that the reason why the table is split up the way that it is that there's going to be a house split. Somewhere down the line that like half of them are going to be on one side and the other half are going to be on the other side, and maybe they're going to have to like pass things back and forth. But then I don't know how they would use the bathroom, you know? So it's like, that's a complication. I don't know.
I think that's extrapolating it way too hard, Taryn. I'm here to say
no, Taryn didn't say that. No, Taryn didn't say that. Taryn didn't say that. That was not my boyfriend. No,
I'm here to tell your boyfriend that he's probably wrong. I think that it was just a unique decor choice, but that is just me. I'm squashing those rumors. I think that it was just for like because the whole house has like the cracks running through it, right? So it's like oh, this was like a perfect house, and then we set off our time laser and it like cracked the house and like made these like,
but you don't
you
think
know.
it's gonna be like a house split, like it's cracking the house and half people are on one side of the crack and the other people are on the other side of the crack?
No,
Am
they're
I
probably
think, I'm giving too much credit to the people on Big Brother.
they're getting a new dining table like next week. Like the dining table is going to shrink next week and probably be all the same. And
Well,
this theory is a wash.
that's what I was thinking. I was like, this has to happen soon. Like this has to be happening this week.
I don't think so, but what do I know? I don't
know anything either. So that was just my
totally
conspiracy.
Okay, I like it. I like where you're going with it, but I'm here to be devil's advocate and say I don't think so. I think it was just purely decor.
Well, okay, so speaking of conspiracies, and I need your thoughts on this. So there's rumors circulating on Twitter that we're gonna start seeing either all winter season, winter, like all winter. I feel like
people,
I don't know.
People
like
who have won.
Yeah.
Yes.
All winners, but it's during the winter. So it all winners during the winter. So all winter and winter.
Yeah.
Or like all stars coming in to replace the spot of Celebrity Big Brother.
Yes.
Do you know anything about this?
I have heard this rumor for literal years.
I know, it's every year. I know.
It's every year.
But this year it's serious.
Well, this year is the writer's strike. So who knows? Like maybe CBS is going to be hard up for content. I don't know. Do I know anything about it? Absolutely not. Have
you been reached out to?
No.
Did they send you an email that was carefully worded and was like, show up?
I didn't.
Show up and have your bags packed?
Email. But I will say, if there were to be an email, I do think it's like, I think they're going to like get through this season first before they would like start planning something like that. True. But what do I know? I'm just like completely making this up. I think it's a possibility that they could do that. It would be very easy to do. The house is sitting there doing literally nothing. People need to be at work. People need jobs in the industry. Like I think that it would cover a lot of bases. Maybe they'll do it. I don't know. I've heard that they were going to do it for the last several years and they never have. So
I know. And I fall for it every time.
What do I know? And if they did, it would be great, and I would watch it. That's what.
So would you go on?
Maybe it would really depend on how long I had to be away.
Yeah,
I have like a really
what's your limit?
Weird. Well, I did Amazing Race, and that was 30 days, and that like was a lot for me. That was like for me really, really tough. I would say that right around there is my limit.
Okay. 30
like
days.
Right in that ballpark. Yeah.
I can't remember how long Celebrity is filmed for.
I don't know.
I think Celebrity is like 30 days too, but I might be wrong.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, if it was something like that, I think that's doable and doable for most people. I think like even when they had All Stars before, so many people said no because of how long it is.
Yeah.
Because it's so long, especially if you have a family or whatever. It's just really, that puts a lot on the family. And anyway, it was hard for me to leave for Amazing Race for 30 days. My mom had to come live at my house and like help with my kids, So, I mean, it's difficult for people to make those accommodations in their life or if they're working or whatever. So I think that's why so many people turn down All Stars too.
Yeah, that's why I turned it down.
That it is.
I wasn't reached out to.
I figured.
But in my head, it's probably because they knew that I was busy.
Right. Totally. You should have been called for All Stars too.
See, I think so too. No, I'm just kidding. But it is like a huge time commitment that I feel like, and also
massive.
It's a once in a lifetime experience.
It is. Yeah.
I feel like Big Brother fans are always like, would you ever do Big Brother again? And it's like, it would never be Big Brother, really. Like, it would never be that opportunity where you are coming in, no one knows who you are, you don't know anyone,
100%.
Like, it's such a once in a lifetime opportunity.
It is.
That, I don't know. I don't know if it would be as fun to
I could go down a total rabbit hole about that because it's so true. The way that you go in for your first season, so naive, and like, particularly for me, pre-social media, like really social media was like a baby whenever I went on season 12. Like I just
broke the microphone. Hold on.
Oh
no. Okay, hold on. Wait.
Okay.
Sorry, say it again. Carry on.
bring in the audio person. When I went on season 12, social media was like not really a thing. Like Instagram didn't exist at all. Twitter was like getting going, but like the whole thing was like really new. And so to have had that initial experience, number one, you're doing like nothing for any social media purposes. Like it's not even a factor. Number two, you are completely naive. No one knows who you are, et cetera, all the things. And to have gone through the experience the first time, it's like, you're not really thinking about what's happening outside. You know, you're not thinking so much about like, what are people going to say about this? Or what is the reaction going to be? Or like any consequences to what you may say or whatever. Like, it doesn't really come into your mind. That all comes, I feel like, comes into play afterwards, after you've done the show and you get the response and you get the feedback. Then that alters you going forward. Like, it alters everything about any subsequent seasons you do or appearances you do or whatever are totally like a more what would the word be, like you're totally presenting yourself more like how you want to be viewed versus like whenever you go in blind and you're just like, yeah, like let's just do this. It's a totally different experience. So I'm validating you saying that you feel like it would be that way. It is that way 100%. Like, it's very different to go back. You can never recreate your first time. You just can't.
I know. So
it's such like a unique thing.
I always wish I could go back though, because I'm always wondering, like, man, I was so naive. I wonder what I could have like picked up on in the diary room, or like, you know, like questions. And I'm like, man, I bet that they probably could have told me like straight up, like to my face, who was targeting me, and I would have been like, no, it's okay. Like, no, you know, I would have not. I would have been so naive.
Go watch season 14 and see what I am, and that's exactly what you would be, because that was me. Like, I was so paranoid because of season 12. Because season 12 I was like in summer camp, you know, like, oh, this is, my buddies, we're friends, they love me. And so then I was so paranoid for season 14, like just like because I was like so burned, like so traumatized from season 12, and trying to pick up on things in the DR. Like, if they're like, you know how they do like the questions about like, well, what did you see when you walked in the backyard? And like, even something as simple as that, I'm like, what do you think? What I
was supposed to see?
What did you see? What were you thinking the theme of? Like, trying to read into everything they said. Because I like had trauma from being like in the DR on season 12 and them asking me about like, oh, how are your friendships? You know, like, tell us about your friendships and about your alliance. And I'm like, oh my God, I should have been reading into that. I should have been reading into them asking me, oh, when you see these people, you know, like I should have been reading into every single question.
We could have been like Dan Giesling. Like, we could have really masterminded our way.
And like, it still didn't work. So I think that what we've discovered is like, maybe I'm just not great at it, because season 14, I was definitely doing that. Like, every question they asked me, I'm like trying to like read the subliminal messages, and I did worse on that season. So, you know, whatever.
You just never know. Expect the unexpected.
You never know. But yeah, I totally can validate that. Like, you go back in such like a different presence of mind whenever you go the second time. It's just, you cannot recreate that like truly green, naive, like genuine experience. You can't recreate it. You're so burned by like the internet that you're like, no, I know I shouldn't say that.
Wait, but you're not burned by the internet though? I feel like you're one of the most universally loved house guests.
You can, that's all fine and well, but you're still burned by the internet.
Yeah,
like I still got like a crazy amount of hate.
Really?
I had oh yeah, for sure. Terrible stuff. Like, literally terrible stuff. Like, you know how trolls can be.
Yeah.
And it like traumatized me for a good long while. Especially, I mean, there were like periods of time where I was just like, I'm not even going to exist on the internet anymore. Like, this isn't worth it. I don't care. And, you know, I think that's true. And I'm super grateful for people who have been supportive. And yes, like largely, I feel like people are positive and super nice to me. And over time, like, the trolls have mostly dissipated, but I got a super fair share of hate after season 12.
That's crazy.
Which, I mean, some of which was probably deserved.
You know, sometimes you do. Yeah, I guess, you know, Sometimes
It's
bullying
fine.
can be, you know, good. You know, when
It's
you
fine.
somebody back into reality. No, I'm sure you're good.
But yeah, like I think that no matter who you are, like you're polarizing to some degree. Like
Mhm.
it doesn't matter. Like you can be, everyone is someone's favorite and like someone's most hated.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like everybody is. So yeah, it changes how you go in and play
Mhm.
and do everything.
Yeah, I would be
And
so performative if I came back. Like I know I would pander to BB Twitter. I would be the worst. I would be a nightmare.
no, you'd be the best. I would love it so much.
It would be horrible, but it'd be fun. Okay, I actually was curious because you're a lot of people's favorite Big Brother house guest, but who's your favorite Big Brother house guest?
My favorite Big Brother house guest always, always, always my whole life was Janelle. And it's so funny because my kids watched season 14 recently and they
Mhm.
like love Janelle. They
Mhm.
love Janelle. They're like,
And they
Janelle's
know
the
her. Well, and they know her, you know, because y'all are best friends.
well, they know her. Yeah, like they know that I talk to her and things
Mhm.
like that. But it's just funny to me that they like also love her. She was always my favorite, which is so funny. She's so different than me.
Mhm.
So like we're opposites. I'm like so emotional and such like a weenie baby. And Janelle is so not. She's not emotional, and she's also like not scared, doesn't back
Mhm.
down. Like she's so in charge, you know. But she was my favorite, favorite, favorite. I loved her so much. So of course, anytime anybody asked me who was your favorite, I would always say Janelle. I just thought that she was like the greatest and the best to have never won, and all the
Mhm.
things. Since then, there have been like, you know, a million people that I've watched and really enjoyed over various seasons. But if I have to like go back to my OG roots, it's definitely Janelle. Danielle Reyes was really great too. I have
Mhm.
to say, I always really loved Danielle. Was so excited to meet her because I thought that she was great. She was like such a master strategist. She's still such a strategist, by the way.
Why doesn't she
And
ever come back, or why doesn't she go on Survivor or anything? Did you ask her?
oh, she would be so good on
I
Survivor.
know.
Can you imagine?
I have a,
She
I don't
would
know.
be
What do you
incredible.
know? What do you know that we don't?
I know literally nothing except for that she's like ridiculously in shape. Like
Yeah.
she's so fit. She looks incredible. She's such a strategist. She would kill it
Yeah.
at Survivor. And
Man,
so speaking
I feel like it
speaking of
would.
long films, they're down to like 26 days now. Survivor
Yeah.
films in like 26, 28 days. It's like nothing. And it
Right.
pays better. It's like the best
How do
paying
you wait?
CBS
Wait.
show.
How do you know what they pay?
Oh, I've had this conversation. Well, I
You
did
on
the season
you
of
on Survivor?
I wasn't on Survivor, but I did The Amazing Race with people from
Oh
Survivor.
yeah, yeah.
And so like the race people, the Survivor people and the Big Brother people, of course we all talked about like
Mm-hmm.
who gets paid what. And the Survivor people make the most money, like by a
Wow.
long shot. Like by a
Wow.
lot.
That's crazy. Well,
Yeah.
I would think, man, that would be miserable to be.
Oh,
Would you ever do
so
Survivor?
miserable. I could like try to do it, but the first time it rained, I think I would be like, I gotta go.
I gotta
I
go. Sorry.
can't. I'm cold. Like, I'm not really very good at suffering. I'm really not. Like, I don't have like an enduring spirit. I'm just like, I give up.
I feel like it would
I'm
make
done.
sense though, because Suri, they brought on Big Brother. I feel like it makes sense to bring someone from Big Brother to the, to Survivor, right? Like I
Well,
feel like
they have though.
no,
Hayden
I
did
know, but
it.
like, but this year, like someone that's like,
Oh, oh,
I mean,
oh,
I
oh.
don't like, no offense to Hayden, I'm sure he's great. I actually don't really know that much about him, but like, he wasn't like a Big Brother legend. Like, I'm thinking like they need to bring
No,
someone
the
that's like a Big Brother
reason
legend, like back to Survivor.
and he was on like a kind of a twist Survivor season where he was with his girlfriend at the time, I
Mm-hmm.
believe, which I'm pretty sure it was so long ago. Don't quote me on that, but I think so. And then Caleb also did it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember the circumstances around
Yeah,
that season. I
but
watched both of
but
those seasons.
we need like a mastermind,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
or
yeah.
like someone iconic. I don't know.
Iconic. I
Yeah,
totally agree. I would
yeah.
love it. Like I would be so happy. As far as I know, no one that I know of has been asked. But honestly, Kat, you probably know way more than me. Like I feel like you want me to dish gossip to you, but I like know nothing.
No, I'm so
Like
out of the loop now because I think I
I'm
like
so out of the
I
loop.
I think I talk too much shit on Twitter. So then people are like, we can't trust her. So I'm so out of the loop now.
I'm
But
completely out of the loop. No one tells me anything. But I love Survivor. I just feel like you don't have time for my rabbit holes, but I could go.
Yes, I do. We have plenty of time. This could be a 2-part episode.
I can go down a whole tangent about the strategy of Survivor versus Big Brother and what, and like the difference between the shows. I could do a whole thing on that. I really could. Because I think, here's my personal opinion. When you're talking about doing a Big Brother condensed season or like a shortened season, like a celebrity format, I feel like you get better gameplay that way. And this is why I think that Survivor has superior gameplay, and they're known to be a more like cutthroat, all these things show than Big Brother. And the one simple reason for that, in my opinion, is how long the show films. When you have to sit there and lie to someone's face for an entire week, that is much more difficult to do than it is for a few hours. Yeah. And the difference in Survivor is that after they have played the immunity challenge and they go back to camp to strategize, it's a matter of a few hours before they go to tribal. And so it's almost like, you know how the double evictions on Big Brother are so good? It's like that's when someone takes the initiative to be like, okay, I only have to get through the next 20 minutes. Like, it's time to make that big move. Yeah. That's almost what you get on Survivor. They're able to be so much more cutthroat and conniving to each other and the blind sides and the backstabbing because it's in such a more condensed format. And people don't understand. I understand as a viewer that it's really frustrating when the house votes unanimously and all those things. Like, people don't like that as a viewer, and I get that. But when you're actually there living it, it is really hard to do. And when you sit down and you know how everyone else is voting and you don't want to cause problems or make waves or whatever, of course you're just like, well, yeah, I'm just going to vote the same way they are. And I feel like that the whole reason that there's that discrepancy between what they're able to pull off on Survivor and what typically is pulled off on Big Brother all has to do with the fact that the evictions are so far apart. It's an entire week. An entire week is so long to sit on a decision.
Especially in Big Brother world, it's so long.
Yeah, it's so long. And like, typically whenever a big move is made or like a major shakeup happens, it happens within a really short time frame. Like, if you look at Dan's funeral, you know, it was like the night before the power of veto ceremony. Yeah. Like, things like that always happen like right before, because if people are given too much time to sit and marinate on their big decisions, they chicken out. Yeah. Or like that person, when that person's literally sitting right in front of you and you're having a long conversation, you soften. You're like, oh, but I really like you. You know what I mean? Like, it becomes harder to lie to their face as time goes on. It's so much easier if I was like, oh, I know I only have to lie to your face for 3 hours. Like, I'm capable of that. It's a lot harder when you're sharing a bed and it's like,
and awkward too. Well, this season, so when Felicia was HOH and then she had that whole plan to backdoor Heisem, I don't think they realized how many days were in between putting Heisem on the block and then his eviction.
Yeah.
Like,
it's straight up 4 days. It's 4 days of like seeing each other at breakfast and at the coffee pot and doing your like afternoon laps in the backyard. Like, it's 4 days of being painfully awkward. Yeah. And so that's why so many people do avoid it. And like, you know, I get it. It's frustrating as a viewer. We wish that every single week was like powerhouse backstabbing moves. Of course, like, I wish that too. But I also understand from being on the show, like, how truly emotionally difficult it is and why we don't typically get it, because it is really hard. And you just kind of have to be like a certain type of like brazen, you know, like you have to be willing.
I think you have to be like some sort of like villain. I don't know. I feel like Big Brother, whenever they like do those psychology tests or whenever they do like psychology tests, I feel like they look for like someone who's like slightly has like a little villain streak in them. Yeah, we're all crazy. Totally. We really are. I was like, like, I don't know what it is that they look for, but it should be studied for sure.
It's so fun. I mean, the more emotional you are, in my opinion, like, the worse it is for your game. Hence, like, me not being super great at it. It makes a lot of sense because I'm like a super emotional person. But it's so funny. Like, whenever I think about season 12, and I see this repeated like every week, you know, whoever would get put up on the block. And I cared zero. Like, I'd be like, oh, you're on the block. Well, I'm going to go make my sandwich. Like, I literally cared not at all. And they would be like distraught and so upset. And I'm just like, I mean, it's not that big of a deal. Like, you knew that this was probably going to happen, right? Like,
Yeah.
you're on a show where people go home. Like, surely you saw this coming, whatever, you know, like, I was just like, okay, not a big deal, whatever. And then it was me on the block and I'm like sobbing and I'm like, oh, I left my family. Meanwhile, I'm like, by the way, not married, like a 22-year-old who doesn't even live at home. And I'm like, I left my family for this. Like, I'm crying. And
like, how dare they?
How dare? Like, when it's you, it's so devastating and it feels so personal. And you're,
I know, it's always personal. I stand by that. It is always personal because you will not evict somebody that you like. And I don't know if that means that I'm not fit for Big Brother, but I'm like, no, those bitches, they liked me the least out of anyone in the house. And that's why I was evicted.
But when it was everyone else, I was just like, God, I wish they wouldn't be so mopey. Like, it's such a downer.
They're bringing down the vibe.
They're bringing down the vibe. Like, God, take your like whininess somewhere else, please. It's so annoying. And then when it's me, I'm just like, I can't get out of bed. I'm so like, that's totally how it is. And then I see other people do that, and I'm like, yeah. Like, when it's someone else, they're in the diary room, and they're like, yeah, so peace out, whoever. And then they get put on the block and they're crying, and I'm like, yeah, that's exactly how it goes. Life comes at you fast,
especially in the Big Brother house. Man. So this season, who's been your favorite to watch this season?
Okay, so to watch, like,
or just like your favorite, or your favorite player. I don't know who your standout.
No, I want to hold on to watch because I loved watching Heisem. He was just so intense. Mm-hmm. Like, his entire HOH reign was just amusing to me, and like, the stuff that I saw on Twitter was like so accurate, with him being like, well, I'm going to need your social security number and then a copy of your driver's license, please. I will need to get that in writing. Like, he was he was like interviewing
so
people,
straightforward.
Like, so straightforward, but so like stone-faced with it as well, like so serious. It was like he was the principal.
Yeah.
And like, you were getting like called in, you were in trouble.
Oh no, he was like conducting meetings, and he was standing at the top of the little balcony overlook thing, like looking at everyone of who am I going to call in next, and they just let it happen.
I loved
and
it.
His house guests were just like, okay, yes sir.
I loved it. His overlord nature, I just thought was like really great. To watch, I love to watch Izzy because she is less than 4 seconds from a complete and utter mental tailspin at all times.
She's my favorite.
I can't wait for her to get on the block. I cannot wait. Oh, because you talk about like feeling like it's personal. Oh my God. She's going to just,
oh my gosh.
Like, she's just like bugging out all the time. Like, where are they? Like, she's so intense. She has such like a frantic energy. Mm-hmm. I cannot wait for her to get on. I was hoping so bad that they would do the blind side last week and put her up just to watch, just because like, I just can't. It's not that I don't like her. It's just that it's going to be very entertaining for me when she finally gets put on the block.
I hope she doesn't. She's one of my favorites, but you're so right.
Yeah, I mean,
you're so right.
It's going to be good TV.
Yeah, she has to take one for the team.
Yeah, she totally does. And I mean, it's really funny. Everybody in the house likes somebody different. Those are a couple of my like favorite people to watch, but I'm generally enjoying it. What about you?
It's a really good season. No, it's so good.
You like it?
I think all the cast members have different layers to them. Like, I feel like we're kind of away from the, you know, the blonde is just your typical blonde and the bro is your typical bro. I feel like they all have layers to them and different things that they're bringing to the table other than like the typical typecasts. So I think that that's really interesting.
Totally. And I was really happy with the way that the alliance is formed. I feel like all of the alliances kind of formed in unexpected ways, which I really enjoyed. I was like, okay, this is going to make for a good season.
I don't know.
It wasn't.
I feel like it's coming. I feel like it's turning into a steamroll. I need something to happen. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I want certain people. Like, I don't want.
The thing about the early steamroll is they'll have to turn on.
That's true. Yeah, that is true. That's what I keep telling myself, because I was like, during my season, we were also getting steamrolled. And then things turned around.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't think it's not looking like it's going to turn around. It looks like Cirie is going to mastermind her way all to the end.
Mastermind the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like if she does, she kind of deserves
Yeah.
it.
Oh, yeah,
Because
for sure.
I feel like when you come in with a reputation like what she has, and then you're still able to overcome that.
I don't think any of the house guests, except for Izzy and Corey, I don't think any of them knew what they were up against. Because even some of that, like when Riley was in the house, she was even like, "Oh, Cirie just needs a home. Like we need to welcome her in." And I was like, "Y'all are in her house. Like she's running the show."
Right. Like you're crazy.
So.
Yeah. Honestly, if she makes it to the end, she
deserves
totally deserves it, because it's not her fault if they didn't, you know what I mean? Like if they didn't recognize the threat that she is and know already. We have at least 2 people who know, and like, I don't know, they should be spreading the word better.
I know. Huh. Well, but it's always a crazy scene. It's fun to watch at least. I mean, and it's a very likable cast as well. We've had worse people.
Were you surprised that they used the power last week? Because I was a little surprised, but maybe it's because I wasn't up on Twitter.
Well, so I'm biased because I really like Jag. He's one of my favorites. So
I like him too.
So in my head, I was like, of course they use the power. He can't go home. I can see both ways. I think that it was a good move on Matt to like kind of stay both sides, you know, because he was kind of playing into Jag's side and Cirie's side. And then also he used it in a way where it seemed like Cirie was kind of telling him to use the power. So I feel like the move itself was good. But now, and this podcast is going to be up after the eviction probably. So I don't know if this is a spoiler or not, but there's a chance now that Jag could just get evicted again. So if they use the power and then just turn around and evict him again, then that's kind of stupid. Like, I mean, I don't know.
It is kind of stupid, but in their defense, it's just the easy move.
Yeah.
It's like, it's just such an easy cop out to be like, oh, I don't want to ruffle any feathers. And I have already, like, you're already dead to us.
We already mourned you.
Like, we mourned you. We literally all voted against you before once. So the second time's a little easier. Like, I feel like it is just such an easy, like, cop out move. So it's not entirely surprising, but it sucks because I like that too. I think that he's really
in my head, I'm like, it'd be the worst move ever to evict him, but I'm biased.
Yeah. You are biased.
Yeah, I know. Well, the Conspire Away Bitches podcast, we're like, I tell everybody that listens to this that we're very biased towards our faves, like irrationally so. Like last season was like a total, like if you weren't Taylor, this podcast hated you. And then I talk so much shit that now no one will come on my podcast. So I'm like, okay. So now I'm trying to be better.
Okay, so who was the number one favorite, like, of the last few seasons? Just tell me who all the conspiring bitches love.
Oh, well, Taylor.
Besides Taylor. Okay.
During BB23, I don't know.
What about during All Stars? Who was everyone's All Stars too?
Oh, well, we loved Janelle and Kaser, of course.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of who else we liked. I don't really like All Stars. Is that bad? I don't know. Is that? I don't know.
I like lost series. I'm really bad about this, but I lost interest in it about, like, I don't know, a little over halfway. Yeah. Once Ann Terry left, I was like, is there anything left for me here? I don't think so.
Yeah, it was fun. It was good, but I'm hoping that there's going to be some all-star seasons or an all-winter season or something coming up to maybe, I don't know, because I want to see like Dan Giesling battle it out with Dr. Will and Britney Haynes and Janelle teaming up. Like, I want to see like the actual icons. All Stars was fun, and it is great for them to. They're obviously great enough to get the call back, which is, you know, I'm not going to discount that. But I just feel like we could have had such a better cast of people. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that a lot of people turned it down, like a lot. But yeah, it's because it's so long. It's just so long. And that one in particular, kind of like this one, I think was like later in the year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And so it's like,
life moves on. Yeah. Well, this will be our official petition.
Especially for Dan. Dan had like little kids at the time. You know, I think that like a lot of them.
And a lot of people are pregnant. Like Rachel was pregnant. Vanessa just had twins.
That's right.
Jessica Nixon was pregnant. Like there was a lot of, it was bad timing, but.
Yeah, totally.
Well.
It was all right though.
Yeah. I I know we sound so bitter. We were not. We're like, that season sucked so bad.
That
But
was the worst.
Call us for the real All-Stars, and we'll be back and we'll show you some good TV.
What other conspiracy theories are you covering right now? I just want to hear some more.
Gosh.
We got the table. What else can I shut down?
Okay, hold
on.
What
else can I dispel?
Let me see. Okay, I have to think about this. Okay, so I have
Also, who are your enemies? Who else are your enemies? I just really want to
know my enemies?
Yeah, you said that like people won't come on the podcast because you trash talked. So I want to know who that is.
Okay, so I don't know. I mean, literally all of BB24. Like, because I thought that we were all in this together. Like, I love talking shit. So if someone gives me the opportunity to talk shit, like I will take it and run with it. So whenever we were all talking shit about everyone that was, against Taylor, I was like, hell yeah, like I was made for this. So I just like took it and ran with it. I didn't realize how fickle BB fans are, and that as soon as the house guests get evicted, they all have fan bases, Yeah, and I'm sure that people say the same thing about why I have my fan base. I don't know. But I was like, wait, we like them? I thought that we were all like trash talking them. Like I thought we all hated them. So then I mean, there's a couple people I feel like I'm on good terms with Turner and with Joseph, and of course Taylor. But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like everybody, I don't know. I would feel so awkward if I showed up to like Hearts of Reality or like The Challenge or something, and it was like all those people, because I don't know.
I have wished forever, and like maybe now that streaming is a thing, they would start doing this, because I wish that they had done it for our season. But I wish that they would do like a year later reunion. Mm-hmm. Like I think it would be so fun, like for a season, to get everybody back and talk, just talk about like, oh, remember this, whatever. And then, do you regret the way you voted? Are you still happy with the way you voted? Like after they're able to watch the show, because the entirety of everything that we film is before you're able to see it. And like, I think it would be so cool to actually have time to like go home and watch it and then do a reunion with those house guests.
No, I agree. I think they should do that. I don't know why they don't.
Well, before it would have been like, they would have had to like eat into their regular programming. But now that everything is like Paramount Plus anyway, I feel like it would be really, really easy. And I would be like a really good host for it.
Oh, is this your official application?
This is my plug. Yeah, I want to be Andy Cohen.
You would be so good. They should have you back to do some sort of interview.
They have had people back to do jury table. Yeah. They had Dr. Will.
Yeah, he did our
jury table. Oh, he did? Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he's perfect for that. I mean, like, I think
I had a meltdown after the jury table was filmed, because I didn't.
Oh, you did?
Well, because I didn't really know going into it Dr. Will's like personality, I guess. So I don't know. He was such a dick to me. I was like, he hates me. Everybody hates me. They think I'm dumb. Like I had a full blown like panic attack after that was filmed.
Okay.
So.
Oh, how funny.
I know.
Well, I think the asking him to do that one like makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense.
Known to be like such a strategist and like all of that. So I get it. Him doing that, I think I would do a really good job moderating.
I think you'd do a great job.
A reunion. Thank you. I'm here to officially say that I want to. Thank you.
All right. Well, CBS, if you're listening to the Conspire Away Bitches podcast, which I hope you are.
Which they are.
Actually, I think that they are, because I don't know. I feel like I'm treading on like thin ice with them. So they're like, oh, we gotta keep her under wraps.
Because they've heard too much from you on this podcast. Ooh, I hope I didn't say anything.
No,
I don't think I did.
Fine.
I admitted that I played so by the rules with that segment. I didn't tell a freaking soul.
I know. Like, that's surprising. I would have told everyone.
Listen, I'm scared. I'm too scared now. Now that I am older and in the family way, NDA's like actually scary.
That's true, yeah. Like, it would be very inconvenient to be sued right now.
Very inconvenient. When you're 22, it's like not even real. You're like, what's this paper? Yeah. I'll sign it. Who cares?
Right.
Once you're older, you start to like get a little worried about those kind of things. So I was very by the rules. Very by the rules.
That's so funny. Well,
I'm proud of myself.
Well, is that
Okay, my other question was, somebody's crying.
That's my dog.
My other question was, what else are you conspiring about? What are some other theories?
I'm always concerned. I'm trying to think of my other theories that I had this season. Sometimes as soon as I tweet them, then I'm like, okay, whatever. I have a theory that I tweeted. It didn't really gain any traction because everyone was like, why are you spending so much time thinking about this? But I had a theory that, the whole like Blue and Jared thing, right?
Yeah.
So, and on the show, they're talking about how she's like, well, I think Suri might be his mom, blah, blah. I think she already knows. Like, I think that he told her when they knew that the cameras were off, that they couldn't show it, whether it was an HOH lockdown or maybe they were doing something that can't be shown on TV. I think that she already knows. But because of the way that he told her, now that's why she hasn't told anyone about her theory that they're related, because she knows for sure, and it's already been confirmed by production. So now it's more of like a, can't talk about production kind of thing. Like, I feel like it's more serious for her to keep it a secret because of maybe how production had to get involved with, like, getting the footage of her unwrapping that they were related. But that's, I don't know. That might just be fan fiction on my end.
Do you think that was a good decision on their part to keep it pretty quiet?
Who's the
Jared and Suri? Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I think it was a horrible decision to put Jared in the house, to be honest. He brings nothing to the show except for that he's Suri's son. So I'm like, okay.
I feel like I get it, but it's so dangerous. I don't think I would have done it. I think as soon as I knew that one person knew, soon as I knew that I would tell everyone.
Yeah.
Because all it takes is for Izzy to get mad at her.
And I hope she does. And I hope she does.
It could be something so dumb. Like, it could be something stupid.
Mm-hmm.
All it takes is for Izzy to get mad at her, and it blows up everything, because then everyone thinks that this whole, you were holding, which they are, you are holding this dirty secret the whole time. So literally her entire game right now hinges on Izzy and Izzy's loyalty. And she very well could keep her under her thumb, and she could make sure she doesn't tell, and maybe she won't. But she could get mad at her because she wouldn't, make the iced tea that day. Yeah. And like, how like people's personalities like wear on you when you're around each other too long. Like, it could just be like the dumbest thing that causes her to get mad. And as soon as she does, she could literally blow up her whole game.
See, I think this is another theory of mine, and I don't want to, I don't know, CBS, if you're listening, it's not like, I don't know this for sure. Like, this is all like, I'm just speculating, but I'm thinking that maybe production probably wants them to keep this a secret for like they want to have the storyline of, because it is exciting. Like, it's exciting as a viewer to watch, like, oh, today could be the day that it gets spilled. So they have that pull to get people invested. So I could see them, if they did have an idea in their head, like, okay, Izzy knows, maybe we should just tell everyone. I could see production shutting that down.
You think so?
I think so, because then
they would be like able to do that in that moment, though.
That's like, true. Yeah.
If she had pulled the trigger right at that moment, they couldn't have done anything.
Yeah, but I also think from their point of view, they probably understood how much went into getting them on the show together. Also, they know the magnitude of the twist. Like, they have to know they are the twist.
Yeah.
So there is a pressure to keep that a secret. That's why I think that Blue knows. She knows for sure.
And it's just,
and I think that there's just like a lot of pressure to keep it as a twist. Not necessarily that production is meaning for there to be pressure, but like, if production calls you in and they're like, we have to talk about this because Jared told you that they're related, but we can't use this footage of him telling you. So now we have to have you unpack it here in the diary. Like, I just feel like something happened, and I know that this happened. I sound crazy, and I've been thinking too much about this, but I don't know. I feel like there's something that they're not telling us. They're keeping something from us.
I mean, that's a good conspiracy. I will say, like, I hear your evidence. I don't believe it.
I don't know. I think because I don't really have any evidence to back up my claims. So either you believe me or you don't. I think that she knows.
She might. I mean, she might know. I remember there was a whole thing between Frank and Dan, and I just remember I remember Frank complaining about it in the jury house, like after the funeral.
Mm-hmm.
And his big complaint was that Dan used production against him, and that should be illegal, and that's not fair.
I think
it's
that
not
actually,
part of Big
I
Brother
actually
rules or
think
whatever.
that might be illegal now, to be honest.
Oh, really?
I think that I remember them saying something like that, where you're not allowed to lie
like,
about production kind of stuff.
yes, because what he was claiming, and like this is so long ago that I could be wrong about this, but I'm pretty sure what he was saying was something to the effect of Dan saying to him like, "Oh, they're asking me in the DR about us and about us about this, and they're pumping me up, they're doing this." And Frank was saying that he was saying that to make it seem more credible that behind the scenes Dan was really working with him, if that makes
genius,
sense.
man. I wish I would have thought of that myself.
Right?
Man.
It's so smart. It's so freaking smart. And so, right?
But actually,
so
I don't think you're allowed to do that anymore. I think that I don't know.
Well, that's what Frank was saying, was like, you can't use production, blah, 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 blah. And then, so he maybe had like a real argument there, but it got very very diluted, because then Joe Arvin was saying like, oh, because he was saying that Dan like used the Bible. And he was like, you can't do that either. And it was like, okay, this has become nonsense. No one's listening anymore. Because he was like literally saying like, no, Dan swore on the Bible and that's not right. And that's like why he wasn't voting for him for real.
Really?
Like legitimately. Yeah.
I will say there's a lot of, okay, I don't know if this means I'm going to hell. Lord forgive me if I am. I don't know. But there always is an uproar whenever people swear on the Bible in the game. And in my head, like if I had to get myself out of a pickle, I think I would use the Bible. Like, I mean, I don't know if that's like, I don't know if I'm going to hell.
Well, this is what I was saying.
But I'm like, I don't think God, like if you showed up to heaven and he was like, you swore on the Bible that one time, I'd be like, it was all showbiz, you know?
And he would be like, right, I forgot that was the circumstance. You're right. Like, you got, this is a game of strategy.
Come on in.
But what I was saying to Joe, even at that time, was like, but we're not at like Sunday school.
Yeah, right.
Like there is not a rule against you saying anything. Yeah. You can swear on your deceased loved one. You can Matt Hoffman and pretend that your wife has a bone melting candle disease or whatever. Like, you can say or do whatever you want. It's all about, can you sleep at night with it or not? And if you can, great. And it gets you further, go ahead. Like, we love to see it. And he was very adamant at that time, like, no, like that crosses a line, da da da. And I'm like, okay, it really doesn't, but whatever. Like, man. you couldn't reason with it. Like, and I felt like that situation always got so misconstrued, because I was saying like no one was voting for Dan, and I feel like people were saying that I was advocating not to vote for Dan.
Wait, so
and I'm like, no,
are you saying that you're the reason why Dan lost?
No, I don't think so. But people weren't understanding that I was saying like Dan was going to lose no matter what. What I was trying to say was that jury was not going to vote for Dan. Period. Period. But people were saying that like that was my position, and that wasn't my position. I thought that Dan played it obviously like an excellent game. I was super close to Ian in the house. I thought he played a great game as well. We had a final 2 deal. I loved him so much. But regardless, it wouldn't have mattered what my vote was. Dan was not going to win, because Joe was dead set on you used the Bible, or you put your hand on the Bible. There was a Bible story of some variety. Frank was super mad because did he use production? Did he not use production? I mean, Frank hated Dan with the fire of 1,000
I wonder if
suns.
he still hates him.
I don't know. But
he was on.
Especially
bring him in.
Like, it was really, bring him on and our surprise guest. But it was really fresh at that time. Like, he was in jury decompressing, and the blood rage was just like 15 out of 10. He had Ashley in his pocket, and then he also had Jen. Like, Dan wasn't going to get those votes. And so I just felt like after the show was over, people took it as though I was saying like that I was trying to not get Dan votes, and that was never the case. I was never like, arguing against
Mm-hmm.
all. I was actually arguing that their arguments against him were unfair.
Mm.
But people, for some reason, took it as that like I was arguing against Dan and I wasn't. I think, oh, I think that Dan can do all the things and it's completely fair. Like
Mm-hmm.
that is the game. That is what people signed up for. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I
I also feel like now social media, though, people really can't get away with that much stuff. Like I even though I was just saying how, like, if someone swore in the Bible, I wouldn't really care. I mean, if someone swore in the Bible today, like, I mean, they would absolutely be canceled on social media.
Yeah.
Except for to me to be like, and then I would get canceled because I'd be tweeting like, actually, it's not really that big of a deal.
I just think that's a little bit crazy though. Like that is if they swear on the Bible and you believe them, that's kind of your bad. Like
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
like nothing is that serious in the game of Big Brother.
Nothing is that serious in the game of Big Brother. Like these people could be lying. They're also lying about their jobs, their spouses, you know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if what you're hedging your bets on is, if you hear my dog snoring, I apologize. If what you're hedging your bets on is what they swore on, that needs to not be it. I remember this one time Vanessa said something that was like to me incredibly profound and I was like, yes, it's absolutely correct. But what she said in a nutshell was like, what's good for me has to be good for you for me to trust that that's what you're going to do. Mm-hmm. Like the way that I get someone to do what I want is by making it seem to them like it's good for them. Mm-hmm. And I don't remember exactly how she worded it. She worded it better than that. But it was like, do my interests and your interests align? And if mm-hmm. they do, I can trust your decision. That's absolutely the case. If you don't have an alignment on your best interest, it doesn't matter what they swear on. They're probably lying. And if you don't see that, then I don't know. You're being lied to.
Well,
I don't think it matters what they swear on, but that's just me.
So when we see you in the house as either the 18th house guest or for the All-Star season, if we see you swearing on the Bible, then we will not take your word for it.
Thank you. You shouldn't.
Like she warned us about this. We cannot trust her.
And that's also my paranoia of just like, well, Dan Giesling burned me because Joe Arvin said that he used a Bible. And now.
Oh, wait, hold on. I think God just shot her to hell. Oh my gosh, how do I get her back? Wow. Wait, that was so funny. Oh my gosh. Y'all, okay, I take back everything I said about the Bible. Y'all, we do not swear on the Bible because I really think that Britney just got shot down. Wow. I don't know how to get her back. Whoa. Well, with that being said, thank you for coming on the Conspire Away Bitches podcast. Oh no, I don't know what happened. I really think that was like interference from the Lord himself. All right, I'm gonna try to get Brittany back, but if not, thank you for coming to the Conspire Away Bitches podcast. I'm your host, Kat Dunn. Thank you for Brittany for coming on. This has been really fun having a guest on. It was fun to talk shit and talk BB. So be on the lookout for more of these to come. And I'm gonna go check on Brittany and make sure that she's still with us. Bye.